Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please. Oh, all right. We really can't blame you.
3 years after World War II ended, the Soviet Army wanted to conquer Europe by installing left-wing governments in the countries of Eastern Europe that had been liberated by the Red Army. The Red Army was built mainly by workers and peasants. They were a group of revolutionaries that took out the government in the Russian Revolution in 1917. The Allies from World War II, USA and Britain, feared that the Soviet Russia would dominate Europe with an influence of Soviet power. The United States and his allies created a unified military group named North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. They sworn to stand together against any type of aggression.
Remember what to do, friends. Now tell me right out loud. What are you supposed to do when you see the flash?
In the 1970s, the contemporary terrorism was implemented with six main characteristics: assassination, bombing, kidnapping, airline hijacking, barricaded hostage situations, and armed assaults. These characteristics were implemented to create fear on a worldwide scale. The 70s started with a bomb attack at Swissair Flight 330, causing it to crash near Zurich, killing 38 passengers and 7 crew members, led by PFLP-GC, Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine General Command, terrorist group. All this would be only the beginning of a never-ending war between terrorist groups and the military forces. Modern terrorism isn't different than how it was 40 years ago. They still use the same strategies. For example, the unfortunate occurrence in September 11th, when two planes collided with the Twin Towers in downtown New York. In 2015, in Paris, a great shock came into place. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, mostly known as ISIS, attacked multiple times across the city, killing 130 people and wounding 494 people. The attackers armed with assault rifles and explosives. Don't get high on your own supply. A non-said rule when you are a seller of illegal substances. Drugs have been in this world for millenniums, and even though some can save lives, others can take it away. In New Bilbid prison, Metro Manila, Philippines, 2016, there was a huge scandal when two top convicted drug lords in the country continued to run their drug rings from inside the prison. Herbert Colango and Peter Coe. They continued to run their meth operations until President Rodrigo Duerte made allegations towards the drug lords and intensified an anti-drug campaign. In the US, 96.1% of drug trafficking involves the following drugs: marijuana, 14.1%, cocaine, 20.3%, crack, 8.2%, meth, 36.9%, heroin, 13.8%, oxycodone, 2.8%, and other 4%. These are responsible for 70,000 drug overdose deaths in the United States just in 2017, 9.6% more than the previous year.
Tom Leo Clancy Jr. is a novelist born in 1947. He became extremely famous for writing books about the military and firstly about espionage during the Cold War. His stories also included topics such as drugs, terrorism, and usage of advanced military technology. He was raised by both of his parents, Catherine Clancy and Thomas Clancy, in Baltimore, Maryland. Tom studied in a Roman Catholic school and then later he went to Loyola College, now known as Loyola University. There he graduated with a bachelor's degree in English literature. He tried to join the Army Reserve Officers Training Corps, but Tom was denied due to his myopia, which created the need to wear thick glasses at all times. His first published book was called The Hunt for Red October. The book was incredibly accurate, becoming the best-selling with over 2 million copies sold at the time. he gained the recognition of former President Ronald Reagan. Tom also met several military high-rank officers due to his success. He wrote several other pieces, with many of them becoming bestsellers. In 1990, the first Tom Clancy movie was released, receiving the title and telling the story of his first book, The Hunt for Red October. This movie was the first of many, as there are five released Tom Clancy movies, which had a worldwide box office gross of more than $900 million. All of the movies are about the character Jack Ryan, who has been portrayed by various famous actors, which include Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, and Chris Pine. The latest portrayal of this iconic character is in a new TV series where Jack is portrayed by John Krasinski. The series is an Amazon Prime exclusive, which, has to mean something. When The Hunt for the Red October focused on espionage and attacks during the Cold War, the other narratives focused on more modern topics. Patriot Games, The Sum of All Fears, and Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit are all about terrorism, while Clear and Present Danger is about drug trafficking. Before his death on October 1st, 2013, Tom's net worth was estimated to be around $300 million, surpassing even the richest author alive, J.K. Rowling, who has a net worth of around $95 million. However, Tom Clancy's money did not only come from books, movies, and TV series, but also from video games. Tom Clancy's video games have been around since 2001 with Ghost Recon, and they are still popular to this date, probably his most famous one being Rainbow Six Siege, released in 2015, which is until today one of the most played games online. Rainbow Six's size and impact are very clearly shown on his esports scene. The 16th Invitational 2019 prize pool surpassing the $2 million mark, with a peak of 315,000 online viewers and an average of 118,000 online viewers. All of the games revolve around tactical shooting games, with Rainbow Six especially revolving around terrorists and counter-terrorist fighting. Video games is probably how most of the kids nowadays know Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy stories. There are several real-life accurate examples, like special forces units such as Spetsnaz, Russia, GIGN, France, GSG-9, Germany, FBI, SWAT, Navy SEAL, The Unit, USA, GTF-2, Canada, BOPE, Brazil, and SAS, Britain, which was an essential part in Operation Nimrod that was a mission to rescue hostages from the Iranian embassy. All these special forces were portrayed in his novels and video games, which we'll be talking about later. Special forces are normally assigned to high-precision tasks that only the best of the best can fulfill. With extreme harsh conditions and pressure, they need to act precisely and cautiously when it comes to counterinsurgencies, counterterrorism, airborne missions, hostage secure, and more. After his death, Tom still manages to be relevant with new forms of entertainment and media, with stories that either he himself wrote or that he came up with the idea, inspiring new genres or perfecting them. Tom Clancy was an amazing writer that could fill a story with action and adventure. He was one of the only writers to access old government files in order to get inspiration for his own stories. Sadly, one of the best novelists passed away 6 years ago, but his legacy will remain for decades.
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
Is it easier or harder for you now that you've got these characters developed, now you know who they are? All you got to do is sort of think about what kind of trouble do I want to put them in?
Well, it becomes easier insofar as, everything gets easier with practice, whether it's golf or shooting ducks or driving a car. It gets harder because your expectations rise a little bit more quickly than your abilities rise. I mean, I have to produce a good product for my readers, and I try to do a little bit better every time. And fortunately, it gets harder and harder to do better.
Because the expectation level, or what?
Well, my expectations more than anyone else's. I mean, you set goals for yourself, and the goals aren't always realistic. You try to meet them anyway.